I'm on my way to meet a man who exemplifies unparalleled dedication and commitment to this country, Major General Doron Almog. Doron has played a pivotal role in many of Israel's most critical battles and missions. Rising to the rank of commander of Israel's Southern Command, he commanded a platoon in the Yom Kippur War, where his brother Iran was tragically killed. He also led a special task force against a terrorist responsible for the murder of Israel's Olympic team in Munich in 1973. In 1976, Doron was the first soldier to land in Entebbe during the famous hostage rescue mission and the last to leave. He also commanded a daring Ethiopian rescue mission, Operation Moses, which brought thousands of Ethiopian Jews to Israel. After retiring from the IDF, Doron established Nachlat Iran, a village for his handicapped son and all those like him who are unable to care for themselves. In 2016, he was awarded the Israel Prize, the nation's highest honor for a lifetime achievement. Today, Doron serves as the chairman of the executive of the Jewish Agency for Israel and remains active in the IDF reserves. It is a true honor to speak with a man who embodies not only exceptional leadership, but also the highest moral values. So thank you for taking the time to meet with us. We know the Jewish Agency for Israel does Aliyah. It helps society in Israel. It helps strengthen Jewish communities outside of the country. I'm saying this out of pure interest. What is it that you do on a daily basis?
Take care on all these missions. Number one, connect. Connect is strengthening the bonds between the Jews who are living here in Israel and all the Jews in the world living in 66 countries. Number one mission. Number two, Aliyah. Aliyah right now is most important because we need more people. We lost many in this war, but we need more to continue holding the burden of the Jewish people and of the goals and missions of the state of Israel, the only Jewish state in the world. Number one, physically against all our enemies, we need much bigger IDF, Israel Defense Forces, and resilience. We have with us, we have hostages right now, still 101 Israeli hostages in Gaza, Jewish people suffering tragedies all over history. And we need to continue finding the stamina, the courage, the inspiration, and make a hope for ourselves, first of all, and for all the Jews in the world. And as you know, right now, it's not only the war here. We face antisemitism all over the world, hatred against Jewish people, and we continue. We stand tall. We believe in a State of Israel mission and the Jewish people mission, what we are for, not only for fighting. This is existential, to fight for the existence of the only Jewish state in the world. But we are here also for Tikkun Olam, for a society of example. First of all, for ourselves, never to forget the weakest in our society, the bereaved, the widow, the poor, the disabled, the hostage. Exemplary society is number one, about striving all the time for excellency, to be better on every field. It may be sport, it may be agriculture, it may be health, technology, cyber, business. At the same time, never to forget the weakest in our society and guarantee hope for them and for those who get excellent capacity.
Let me ask you a question. We lived a very pleasant life until October 7th, relatively speaking. Financially, security-wise, socially, external and internal pressures. As far as countries go in the first world, we were doing okay. October 7th is this moment where the paradigm we had of we live a secure life, the paradigm we had on we have a sense of control over the region, we're a superpower, all these things that we believed in was put in question.
October 7 brought the biggest crisis of the Jewish population all over the world, and also the biggest crisis of the State of Israel since establishment,
Really?
1948. The biggest crisis for sure, but it At this biggest crisis, what we see? We see the Jewish people standing.
Yes.
Most of them standing, worry, having concern, having fears, scared, because the state of Israel is the biggest guarantee, even without admitting overseas. Jews all continue business, and life continue. Life goes on. And then suddenly, wow, a blow. You Jew, you see the kippah, you Jew, you see the mezuzah, you Jewish, shame on you. From the rivers to the sea, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this is our land. The Hamas protest, Hamas supporters all over the world. It's existential. And it's about the guarantee.
What's going to happen if you're looking at the trend, and I would assume you do, being the head of the Jewish Agency for Israel, what's going to happen with immigration and emigration? Will people be coming from around the nations to Israel? Or will we see smaller numbers in, let's say, 2022, which was the record year, right, of immigration?
More than 100,000.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was
because due to the war between Russia and Ukraine, about 65,000 came from Russia. More 20,000 came from Ukraine. The main source of Aliyah to Israel, the land of Israel, was Russia since 1882, since the first wave. Long time before establishing the State of Israel in 1948. My family arrived 1910, after the pogrom of 1903. Jews were slaughtered, women were raped, killed, and my family decided to take responsibility on our future. They sold everything in Ukraine. They were rich, and they decided to come to the Holy Land. But why Eretz Israel? Why the Holy Land? Why? Because Abraham, our father, Abraham, Avraham Avinu, came from Mesopotamia, which is today Iraq, came by order of God, telling him, Lech Lecha, go to this Holy Land. This is for you. Why? My family heard the same order. And they didn't believe religious or God. Why? No explanation. It's not rational. Even if you speak about Aliyah today, this is the most dangerous place on earth. Show me a country that was drained by Hezbollah more than 9,000 missiles, and altogether more than 20,000 missiles.
I'd say the miracle of Zionism is that even someone who didn't personally say, I'm doing what the Bible says or something like that, still connected in their head to the biblical narrative.
Absolutely.
And they said, I'm part of this people. And to look at that today and say, 2022, you have 100,000 people that want to immigrate to Israel, that's amazing. If you've stuck around so far, you probably like this content. So make sure to drop a like, a share, and a subscribe. Even one person or one share makes a difference to us. Me and the entire team care to know that people around the world get to enjoy this content. I wanted to dive a little into the war conversation. Aside from being the head of an organization that does a lot of good today, you have a very rich history personally, also in an organization that did a lot of violence in a positive way. You're part of the Israeli army for many years, in an elite unit. You've taken part in many operations and commanded many units. And yet you said earlier that October 7th was the worst of the times on a military level for the state of Israel.
The biggest crisis.
How, from what perspective would you say that?
Number one, 1,200 were killed, slaughtered, and more than 250 were taken hostage to Gaza. The horror of October 7, Jews were helpless. We, the mighty IDF that I served for 34 years, we failed to defend our people. And we were in a kind of bubble of illusion. It reminds me, I'm generation of Yom Kippur War. And the same phenomena happened to my generation when I was 22 years old, paratrooper company commander fighting in Sinai, 50 years before the same phenomena of arrogant hubris of our people that brought us a failure. We got strong military, but we failed. And October 7 is much greater failure of the state of Israel, because in the Yom Kippur War, we defended our country along Suez Canal and the Golan Heights. And we lost positions, and we lost soldiers. But none of our communities or kibbutzim was taken.
It's true.
By terror organization. The number of Egyptian army at that time was more than 500,000 soldiers, not a terror organization, occupied with Air Force and missiles and engineers and commando and infantry and Navy. None of that have the Hamas, a terror organization. And the Syrian also about 400,000 soldiers and tanks and division and artillery and Air Force and Navy, and we stood and we succeeded at the Yom Kippur War. The Golan Heights was taken October 6, October 9, we succeeded to change the situation and push back the Syrians. And Egypt also. October 16, 1973, we crossed the Suez Canal and we ended the war 101 kilometers from Cairo. So in few days we succeeded, but none of our citizens inside Israel were taken hostage. Soldiers, yes, but right now the failure is much bigger. And we build the concept that Hamas is deterred.
Doron, what do you think, as a person who's been in leadership most of their life, where was the moment or the process where that pridefulness and that hubris, as you mentioned, took over the decision maker's mind in this country? How did that happen?
I think that all the decision makers in Israel, from Prime Minister Netanyahu to Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi and head of Mossad and head of Shabak, they all understand this is a failure. And that's our own responsibility. And the question, why it happened? You know, just 1 week before the October 7th, I gave interview about 50 years to Yom Kippur War. The last question in the interview, just like that, Ben Shani was the interviewer. And he asked me, Ben, it may happen again? And I said, yes. He said, why? You know, at the same week that he interviewed me, also Herzi Halevi and Aaron Khaliva, head of intelligence, Herzi Halevi, chief of staff, they also gave interview on Yom Kippur, 50 years to Yom Kippur. They were asked the same question.
What did they say?
They said, we had lessons learned from the surprise of Yom Kippur War. We are strong, and it won't happen.
Okay, wait, Doron, what
happened.
Doron, what did you see that they didn't see? Because Herzi Halevi
I must tell you something. It's so human and so natural to trust a concept and to build a concept. After 67, the 6 Days War, you know, in 6 days, we conquered the Egyptian, the Jordanian, and the Syrian in 6 days. And what is the concept? They're afraid. We are strong. We are so mighty that they won't go to a war. Right now, before October 7, said, wow, we do targeted operation. We have great intelligence. They see our superiority. And we were blind, and they were blind. And it's all so natural. And that the main difference between them and me, I'm a human being, I do mistake. But I'm also a father to severely disabled child. All his life was completely disabled, unable to do eye contact or to say one word. And he is the greatest teacher of my life. The greatest professor of my life, taught me more than other people. How to be humble, my dear father, you see me? My dear father, you are strong, but temporary nature, just like that. You a terror or war or bullet or stroke, you may find yourself in my position, in a wheelchair, fully dependent in other people's power. My dear father, you flew to Entebbe to save 105 Israeli hostages. There were 1 week hostage. I'm hostage from birth, my dear father, hostage from birth, unable to do anything by my power. Be humble, my dear father. And maybe, I don't know if the differences between me and others, but the main difference to hear the voice of the weakest in our society and to be sensitive toward people. Hubris, putting yourself above. As human being, you say, I'm superior. Never, never underestimate our enemies. Never. It's not matter of intelligence. We have the best intelligence in the world. We have the 8200, the eavesdropping unit, the best in the world. You see right now the results by eliminating Hassan Nasrallah. We have the greatest intelligence. But we didn't hear because we blocked our ears. We didn't want to see.
You're saying something so powerful, which is it isn't of the mind and it isn't of intelligence or information. It's the disposition of the heart. Are you humble enough to recognize your humanity and your weakness, the fragility of our life, to be able to see reality as it is?
Absolutely.
It's an incredibly powerful message. How do you implement that philosophy into this organization?
Day and night, I speak about it, about this message. Even now, the joy and the happiness, how we eliminated Hassan Nasrallah. First steps toward hubris. 1992, Abbas Musawi was Hezbollah leader before Nasrallah. I remember the targeted operation against Abbas Musawi. Chief of Staff Ehud Barak gathered us. Wow, what a beautiful target operation. How successful. And then we got Nasrallah.
It was 10 times worse.
Well, what do you think? And I can give you more names about many leaders of Hamas, Hezbollah. There was targeted operation, and who came after. I remember the first Lebanese war. And Prime Minister Begin said Lebanon will be the second country to have a peace treaty with Israel. What happened?
Far from it.
Far from it. We succeeded to take Arafat and the PLO and deport them to Tunisia. And who came after Arafat? Hezbollah.
Hezbollah, which is much worse.
We established by our own hand, without understanding what would happen, we established the entrance of Iran and Hezbollah. And a year later, United States lost 241 Marines by one explosion of Hezbollah, suicide bomber, with a truck enter, and President Reagan of the United States decided to evacuate United States military from Lebanon. We need to be very humble on leading huge strategic process. We do not control many circumstances in our world. They are guided by hatred, wiping out the state of Israel, the only Jewish state in the world. And we should be guided by the values. We must be strong, defend ourselves, build strong military, strong intelligence, but as you said, never to forget the human nature.
Final question for you. We've been talking for a while about many things that I believe are going to be new or an update to our audience. How would you want them to engage in what's happening here in Israel through the Jewish Agency?
We need more money. We need your support. We have more bereavement. We, the Jewish Agency, we have our own Victims of Terror Fund. Right now, we are treating 10,000 families, victims of terror. And this is a time of huge trauma of the Jewish people. So the strength comes from overseas by a mental support, by visit, by solidarity mission. by fundraising, volunteering. We thank our Christian community supporters. We welcome them, and we ask, continue supporting the State of Israel by more fundraising and more presence here. But number one, to believe in the existence of the State of Israel. We didn't invite this war. We didn't want this war.
Yeah.
We fight for our existence and our values and doing a better world, just like that.
Doron Almog, thank you very much for taking the time. It's been a fascinating conversation.
Thank you, Mati. Thank you so much.
Hello, this is Mati here in Jerusalem with TBN Israel.
This is Yair Pinto from TBN Israel here in Jerusalem. TBN Israel is keeping viewers informed with Israel-focused news, culture, and what God is doing in this land.
Support TBN Israel today online at tbn.org/Israel. Thank you.